Hello, everybody. How are you? Hello to the people who are watching live. Hi, Beth. Hello to the people watching on replay. How are you? I'm going to start with my typical thanks to everyone for all the help. I am now getting messages on Instagram. I'm getting messages all over the place. Emails, Instagram, Twitter. You all are being incredibly, incredibly helpful. And I want to thank everyone who is providing information, who is helping, who is offering moral support. I am very, very grateful. And speaking on behalf of NEGS, he too is very grateful. Hi, there I am. I was nattering away and I didn't even have my avatar up. Sorry. Anyway, thanks again to everyone. I appreciate all of you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. If you check out my community tab, you will notice that my Elphaba Barbie arrived and she's already on display in the house. And I keep looking at her because I really, really want to see the end of that movie again. Very inspiring. I was telling someone yesterday, hey, Breeze, I was telling somebody yesterday that I'm so excited for part 2 of Wicked that I want to set up a lawn chair outside the theater now. Hey, Anna, how you doing? And I want to get a jump start on getting the best seat in the theater. Hi, Shadow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shadow. She's incredible. She looks just like her. I want to make sure I have a really good seat when part 2 comes out. Hi, Rosie Rose. Good to see you. Anyway, so we've got a lot of ground to cover today, and I figured I might as well jump right into it. Now, yesterday, I finally had an opportunity to sit down and listen to the oral arguments in the Supreme Court case about transgender youth, or quote unquote gender affirming care being made available, high reading, to transgender youth. This is the kind of thing I love. Hi, Taliu. How are you? Isn't it amazing, Taliu? It looks exactly like her. And I wonder, how is it that they got her exactly right? And the Ariana Grande one is horrendous. It looks nothing like her. It doesn't even look like a Barbie. It's ghastly. But the Elphaba one is beautiful, including that magnificent cape. So, yeah, love it. These oral arguments are something that I really enjoy because I'm a huge nerd and I've seen oral arguments presented before the Supreme Court before. My class in junior high took a field trip. Hey, Cheryl, how are you? And we got a chance to sit in the viewers gallery for, hey, Kanish, for a little while. You know, they circulate people in and out of the courtroom. And I got a chance to listen to it. And it was a very, very dry case, something involving interstate commerce that who cares, right? I mean, it wasn't very interesting. Hey, Augustina, but just to be inside the Supreme Court with the justices in front of you and listening to the lawyers make their arguments, it's if you're a political nerd, you really appreciate it. It's very interesting. Well, I listened to the oral arguments and I was pretty wowed, both positively and negatively, by what I heard. Now, a lot of you would probably not find it terribly interesting, so I'm not going to sit here and stream the entire proceeding because it gets very much into the weeds. And I believe it was Legal Mindset, that lawyer Sean, you know, the chubby one, who did an analysis of the entire oral arguments. Hey, SARS, how you doing? So I'm just going to play you what I think was the best part of the hearing, which is Alito's Q&A with both the Solicitor General and the lawyer from the ACLU. Like I said yesterday, I don't think that the outcome of this case is a mystery. I think we all know how potentially criminal. Thank you, Augustina. Legal Mindset is somebody else. You're right. Potentially criminal. Yeah, that's the channel. Let me put that up. sorry. Yeah, that was the channel that did the kind of in-depth analysis of the arguments before the court. I think that after this case is decided, we all know how it's going to go. We do. Let's admit it. We all know. Hi, Cheryl. Good to see you again. We are going to be seeing a big change in this country, a very big change. And I think that this presentation by Chase Strangio, who is the lawyer for the ACLU, is going to be really devastating for the ACLU. Now, maybe it's just wishful thinking on my part, because I wanted the ACLU to get back to free speech and get away from all these issues that have nothing to do with free speech, even though they're making some sort of, the Solicitor General was making some sort of vague connection between the law that was passed in Tennessee and the 14th Amendment, the Equal Protection Clause. But I don't. Yeah, he did. He really did. He did. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I listened to enough. So let me just go ahead and stop blabbing and get to the first part. The first clip is Alito questioning the Solicitor General from the Biden administration. And it's Alito presses the Solicitor General about the UK report on gender-affirming care for minors. He's talking about the Cass review. So let's go ahead and listen to that. These are very short clips, so let's listen.
Well, can I ask you a question about the state of medical evidence at the present time? In your petition, you made a sweeping statement, which I will quote. Overwhelming evidence establishes that the appropriate gender-affirming treatment with puberty blockers and hormones directly and substantially improves the physical, psychological well-being of transgender adolescents with gender dysphoria. That was in November 2023. Now, even before then, the Swedish National Board of Health and Welfare wrote the following. They currently assess, quote, that the risks of puberty blockers and gender-affirming treatment are likely to outweigh the expected benefits of these treatments, which is directly contrary to the sweeping statement in your petition. After the filing of your petition, of course, we saw the release of the Cass report in the United Kingdom, which found a complete lack of high-quality evidence showing that the benefits of the treatments in question here outweigh the risks.
That's right.
And so I wonder if you would like to stand by the statement that you made in your petition, or if you think it would now be appropriate to modify that and withdraw the statement that there is overwhelming evidence establishing that these treatments have benefits that greatly outweigh the risks and the dangers.
I, of course, acknowledge, Justice Alito, that there is a lot of debate happening here and abroad about the proper model of delivery of this care and exactly when adolescents should receive it and how to identify the adolescents for whom it would be helpful. But I stand by that there is a consensus that these treatments can be medically necessary for some adolescents, and that's true no matter what source you look at. You mentioned both the Cass report and Sweden, but neither of those
can be medically necessary for some minors. But for the general run of minors, do you dispute the proposition, in fact, that in almost all instances, the judgment at the present time of the health authorities in the United Kingdom and Sweden is that the risks and dangers greatly outweigh the benefits? Do you dispute that?
I do dispute that, because if you actually look at how those jurisdictions are addressing this issue, they have not outright banned this care. The Cass report says at multiple points that this care can be medically indicated for some transgender adolescents. And of course it's true that they have called for a more individualized approach to these issues and have questioned whether it should be readily applied to all adolescents as a matter of course.
Is it not true that in England, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the time is running out, that the National Health Service some months ago limited the prescription of puberty blockers to adolescent males who are over the age of 16 and are already on estrogen, but for those who are under the age of 16, it's allowed only for experimental purposes. Is that not true?
So the approach in the UK right now is to allow hormone therapy for anyone 16 and older. And with respect to puberty blockers, the UK has restricted new prescriptions outside of research settings. But the CAS implementation plan itself makes clear that if a medical team determines that these medications are necessary for a particular patient, they will be provided. And that is
the restriction that I mentioned was imposed by the British government some months ago. It was reaffirmed by the current Labour government, was it not? It was upheld by the High Court of Justice as based on sufficient medical evidence. Isn't all of that true?
I believe that all of that's true. It's outside the record in this case, and so I haven't myself confirmed everything that you just cited, which wasn't before the district court in this case. But let me make a couple of additional points. To the extent that you think that this needs to be taken into account in the application of heightened scrutiny, there's a time and a place for that, and it's with record evidence on remand. We think the court here just needs to recognize the sex-based classification in this statute and send the case back. If the court wants to go ahead and look at what's happening in Europe, the UK has not categorically banned this care. Sweden, Finland, and Norway, the other jurisdictions that my friends point to, have not banned this care. And I think that's because of the recognition that this care can provide critical, sometimes life-saving benefits for individuals with severe gender dysphoria.
Okay, that was a lot of wordplay. Yeah, they do, Freebird. They do. Those are the exact those are the drugs that they use to castrate sex offenders in prison. Ketanji Jackson made a bizarre comparison between kids getting puberty blockers and hormones and interracial marriage. She was trying to draw a comparison, you know, another 14th Amendment parallel, which is absurd. People getting married, adults getting married, enter into it willingly with the full knowledge of what they are about to do, or at least we hope they do. And the Loving versus Virginia case opened the door to gay marriage because, again, we are talking about consenting adults entering into a contract. We are not talking about children being drugged and parents not being able to give informed consent because the studies and the numbers and so on that are being presented are not exactly credible, and there haven't been enough studies conducted about the effects that puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones have on kids who start on them that early. Why? Because those studies have been blocked, and in some cases, the studies have been buried. But anyway, you know how I feel about this. This is Alito questioning the ACLU's lawyer.
Could we explore what intermediate scrutiny might look like in operation in assessing laws like these? So the Solicitor General on page 48 of her brief lists a lot of things that she says, well, if Tennessee were really concerned about the health and welfare of these minors, it would have taken into account a variety of things. So one is waiting periods. Another is whether puberty blockers should be exempted. Another concerns things to make sure that the future of these minors is properly respected, even though they personally cannot make mature judgments about potentially irreversible procedures. So she mentions things like two-parent consent or counseling, readiness criteria, age recommendations, licensing, certification, or reporting requirements for physicians, and other guardrails which are not specified. So if intermediate scrutiny were the regime that would apply, would it not be the case that judges would have to decide whether a particular package containing this much of that and that much of the other thing is sufficient? Wouldn't this be endless litigation based on, with the decision based on determinations by lay judges regarding complicated medical issues?
So if I could make 2 points in response, Justice Alito. And the first is going back to the Solicitor General's example of West Virginia, where West Virginia looked at the underlying science and instead of categorically banning this medical treatment, created pathways with guardrails for individuals to access medical care. There has been no litigation over West Virginia's law, and if there were, in other contexts, the question would remain whether or not the state could make out the showing that this is being treated in such a substantially different way than other forms of medical care. I do think that judges are equipped to make those determinations as they do in many other contexts.
A lot of categorical statements have been made this morning in argument and in the briefs about medical questions that seem to me to be hotly disputed. And that's a bit distressing. One of them has to do with the risk of suicide. Do you maintain that the procedures and medications in question reduce the risk of suicide?
I do, Justice Alito, maintain that the medications in question reduce the risk of depression, anxiety, and suicidality, which are all indicators of potential suicide.
And do you think that's clearly established? Do you think there's reason for disagreement about that?
Absolutely not
I do
established.
Think it is clearly established in the
it
science
is not.
And in
no,
in
it is
the record.
not.
I think as with all underlying questions of looking at evidence, there can be disagreement. I don't dispute that. But here, and sort of going back to questions about the Cass review, for example, the Cass review only looked at studies up until 2022.
Well, I don't regard the Cass review as necessarily as the Bible or as something that's true in every respect. But on page 195 of the Cass report, it says, there is no evidence that gender affirmative treatments reduce suicide.
What I think that is referring to is there is no evidence in the studies that this treatment reduces completed suicide. And the reason for that is completed suicide, thankfully and admittedly, is rare, and we're talking about a very small population of individuals with studies that don't necessarily have completed suicides within them. However, there are multiple studies, long-term longitudinal studies that do show that there is a reduction in suicidality, which I think is a positive outcome to this treatment.
Let me ask a question about another issue that came up during Justice Kagan's questioning and Justice Barrett's questioning in particular, and that is whether transgender status should be regarded as a quasi-suspect classification. And Justice Barrett referred to one of the things that our cases have mentioned in explaining when something should be classified as a quasi-suspect classification, and that is a history of discrimination. Another one is immutability. Is transgender status immutable?
Oh, wow.
May I answer, Mr. Chief Justice?
What a great question.
So I would say that under this court's consideration of that criteria, it is a distinguishing characteristic. Transgender people are characterized by having a gender identity that differs from their birth sex. That is distinguishing and discrete. And that also within the characterization, I would also point, if I could, to the history of discrimination, and there are many examples of in-law discrimination, exclusions from the military, criminal bans on cross-dressing, and others.
Thank you, counsel.
All right. Well, no, the issue of suicide is not a closed book. There aren't enough studies that have been conducted about suicide rates among young people who are given these drugs and find that the drugs do not resolve the underlying issues that they have. And certainly, I don't think that there's been a study about how many people detransition and what the impact is of not just the drugs, but also the surgeries. What the regret level is. I've seen some numbers. I do not trust them because of the people who conducted the studies. But as I said, I think that we're all fully aware of how the court is going to rule. No, nobody cares about cross-dressing. It's bizarre. And the whole question of immutability is a very important one. You can't change your skin color. You can't change... There are a lot of things you can't change. There are things you can change. You can change your religion. You can change a number of other things. But when it comes to the transgender issue, one of the things that has been shown in the few studies that have been conducted is that a lot of the kids who think that they have gender dysphoria grow out of it if they are allowed to go through puberty. And if you halt puberty, you halt that natural process. Literally, kids grow out of it. And there still aren't enough really good studies about the nature of social contagion and the impact of social media on the huge explosion of transgender rates or kids coming forward claiming that they're dysphoric. So anyway, all right, we're going to move on to Cenk and Hasan. I found this channel, Actual Justice Warrior. I watched this video earlier and I thought it was a real kick because it shows you what a piece of crap Hasan is. So let's go ahead and give this a
Greetings
listen.
and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today I want to talk about an exchange that Cenk's nephew had with his uncle, where they discuss different creators that are attacking the Young Turks, and how Cenk felt betrayed by his nephew because his nephew was so quick to leap to defend those people, but for some reason he would never defend him in that similar way, despite the fact that the only reason Cenk's nephew is a notable person is because he got his jumpstart at his uncle's
Gesundheit.
company. He was able to use that to siphon off his initial audience on Twitch, and then
That's
he
right.
grew the audience from that base of
Hasan
TYT
is a nepo
support.
baby.
Now, I find this interesting for a number of reasons, because for some reason, Cenk seems surprised. I understand why he's annoyed, but he seems surprised by this, despite the fact that Cenk's nephew has shown that he knows no loyalty, he knows no respect, and he constantly betrays his friends in order to satisfy leftists that he just does not have the same connection with. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The absolute cowardice and disloyalty of Cenk's nephew, because I find it to be fascinating.
This was pretty bad, you
We're gonna get into
guys.
this, but before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via
No offense.
actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money.
It wasn't just the 13 douchebags online.
I don't-
And
I
by
don't
the
think
way,
we agree
everybody
on
said, no,
Hi,
those
Recliner.
13 douchebags represent all the left. You're not on the left anymore because the 13 douchebags control the left. And then what happened next? Then Majority Report jumped in, and Lance from the Serfs and all the other little dirtbags jumped in, and they were like, no, Cenk and Tana are turning right. The 13 douchebags are right.
I loved
We
his
need to
stream, by the way.
protect every
Their Thanksgiving squabbling
Listen,
stream.
China,
Okay,
even though
okay,
we're
hold-
not nothing to do with China.
You gotta
we
stop.
hate them. They're Nazis.
You gotta, okay.
I mean, I'm 100% right. Every
You
dirtbag show
gotta-
did it.
you gotta calm
Every
down.
dirtbag show did it. Tell me I'm wrong.
There's a great line in Game of Thrones when Arya Stark is talking to Tywin Lannister in Harrenhal, and
Hey,
Tywin
Benita,
asks
did I say
Arya,
hello to you?
"What
If not,
killed your
hello."
father?" And Arya looks him dead in the face, mean mugs him, and says, "Loyalty."
What killed him?
Loyalty.
Well, to be 100% clear, no person on
CSRs.
God's green earth would ever mistake Cenk's nephew for Ned Stark based on the fact that he constantly turns his back on people at the drop of the hat in order to praise the leftist mob.
I mean, as in they think, oh, the young people watch Hasan. He's cool. And you give the thing of like, oh, no, trans people are right on everything, right? You don't come out and make the distinctions that Anna and I made. Okay, so they think, oh, no, he's good. He's extreme as we are.
I think
he's woke left. Yay, extremeness.
I think the reason, first of all, you're
Okay, by the way, Majority
People-
Report and all of you guys, you better attack him. He apparently agrees with me. Okay, you better attack him.
I don't.
You're not going to attack him, are you?
You're
Get the f- out of here.
you're hyper personalizing this into like
But
criticisms that
somebody
you've
comes and punches you in
received.
the face 12 times and you go, what? Why are you hyper personalizing it?
Because-
just because I called you a Nazi, now it's personal to you?
Now, to be clear, what makes this even more embarrassing than the rest of the lefties who bend the knee to the mob, who capitulate to the woke, is that Cenk's nephew has no reason to do this. Cenk's nephew has FU money, but the thing
That's
is,
right.
he's too cowardly to ever say FU. All he does is capitulate and kiss the feet of radical leftists and betray friends that he's known for over a decade, family, colleagues, and this is a pattern that we've seen time and time again. And
Now, I am kind of two minds about Hasan. I can't figure out if he genuinely believes all this bullshit that he's spewing, or if he's just really afraid of losing his audience. Because if he deviates even slightly from the conventional wisdom that he himself helps to establish, will his audience turn on him? The answer is yes. And then how is he going to make an income? Hasan is too cowardly. And I don't believe Hasan is that intelligent. I think that people have given him credit for being this incredibly insightful guy who's a lot smarter than he looks. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I think that it's a combination, honestly. I think it's a combination of he genuinely believes this horseshit and he doesn't want to lose the money because he makes a lot of money on Twitch. A lot of money.
Now, Cenk is seeing it clear as day and calling out his nephew on this. Now, let us get into the clip that started off the inspiration for this video.
People see clips out of
I
context.
know. What do? They see
Out of
clips
context.
On douchebag shows who are purposely misrepresenting our position and pretending that we're against all trans rights. So, so your position to that is surrender, okay? And no, I never surrender. So look. And here, let me explain why, though. Why do I think that's surrender? Because we've tried this, Haas. So let's, on that meta conversation, so we tried it with Trump. So Young Turks viewers will remember, in the beginning, when he first started running in 2015, I thought he was so illegitimate that he was doing it as a con, which, by the way, turned out to be wrong.
Who?
Trump.
Oh.
And we blurred
Hasan
out
is terrible, Cheryl.
First we didn't show him, then we
I think
blurred
we
out
have
his
two
face,
Cheryls
and then
in chat.
we gave up and started showing who he was. Ignoring the beast never works. So then I remember when.
But these people are not the beast.
Hold on, let me finish the point.
Yes,
when
they are.
Rubin came out and started lying, 100% lies, lie after lie after lie. We ignored it because we're like, "What? That's fucking mental, right?" But then the lies started to take root because he goes on Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan's like, "Oh, really? Tell me more. Oh my God, Dave Rubin's so right." And then he went on like 100 shows. And so then Ben Shapiro and Daily Wire comes up, more gigantic, and Crowder comes up. And we're like, "Oh, these are pimples on our ass. Who cares about Shapiro? He's so small. Crowder, who cares? He's tiny. He's microscopic. Who cares, right?" And we didn't address them. And you know what happened? They festered and festered and festered. And next thing you know, Dave Rubin, everybody started to think, "Oh, I wonder if he's right about the Young Turks and they have some evil, nefarious purpose or something." Then we started fighting back and we crushed that mother. Now he's a laughing stock. So whenever anybody thinks of Dave Rubin, they're like, "Oh yeah, he's that dumb guy," right?
Yeah, but that's not because of you. That's also because of Majority Report, ironically enough. And people like myself.
I'm sure.
When we
No,
fight
it's not
back, everybody gets their feelings
the point
hurt.
is, it's not.
And
it's not
and then
just
it's
you.
never us.
So this is in the trans rights section of the conversation that Cenk Uygur had with his nephew. And of course, Cenk's nephew holds all the most ridiculously stupid positions on this particular issue, like the fact that he believes that trans women, aka biological males, should compete and dominate females in female sports, and that the left should just say we're in favor of this, but then refuse to engage with this despite the fact that it's politically toxic for them. Among the other absurd positions that he took in this particular part of the conversation is this idea that the Trump ad, the they-them ad, which was polled and tested to be the most effective ad of his campaign, was somehow not effective. And the reason why
that was
it was
beautiful,
not
by the way,
is because Andy Beshear, who is a governor of Kentucky, doesn't run against the trans stuff, and he wins in Kentucky. Now, of course, that has much more to do with the fact that Andy Beshear expanded Medicaid in the state of Kentucky, and he's popular for other reasons. But
yeah, Andy Beshear is a great governor. Andy Beshear is a really, really, really good governor, which is one of the reasons why he is the second most popular governor in the United States, and probably why Kamala Harris didn't pick him, because why would you pick an extremely popular Democratic governor in a red state? Why would you do that? No, you're going to pick some weirdo nobody from Minnesota that brings nothing to the table except for controversy and weirdness. But this guy is right. Andy Beshear focuses on bread and butter issues in Kentucky, and he doesn't get himself dragged into these identity politics issues. So to bring up Andy Beshear in this context, no. As a matter of fact, the politicians who have gone the hardest on this trans issue, many of them, not all, obviously, but the most progressive politicians in the country, including California, and I would say especially in California, were voted out of office or recalled. But this is something that Hasan does not want to come to terms with.
Cenk's nephew lives in unreality, so of course he is not only going to defend these insane transist positions, but he's also going to attack Cenk and Anna Kasparian for pointing out that these are insane positions that aren't going to help them at all.
We never get any
The
credit.
reason
We
why I'm
only get
bringing
this
up
credit.
the reason why I'm bringing up Majority Report and myself in this process is because ultimately we are all aligned on virtually every single issue. So in many respects, you feel chastised individually. You feel like you've been outcast by the left or whatever, like the media representation of the left
They're not
is.
the left. I'm the left.
Okay.
No, 100%. And you agree with that.
Okay. Please.
You know what? I really love it when these conversations descend into a whole argument using the no true Scotsman fallacy. And I will say, I'm the first one to admit I have done this too. I look at these weirdos. I look at the weirdo politicians in California, or I look at the Squad or Hasan or people like that, and I say, wait a minute, they're not the left. I'm the left. The truth is, nobody can decide on what the left is anymore because the left has become highly schismatic. And the Overton window has shifted so much that people like me are being branded as right-wing, which is absurd. Being a centrist is now right-wing for some reason because that's how far left the left has gone. And then, people in MAGA would probably consider me to be some swivel-eyed loon. I don't know. I mean, I haven't had a lot of political conversations with people in this town, even though I agree with a lot of what they say, but I don't agree with their approach. That's the most I can say. But I find it hilarious when somebody's like, you're not on the left, I'm on the left. Well, the truth is, we're all on the left, except we don't agree on where the left should go. And that's a problem. That's a real problem. I mean, basically, we don't agree on anything. We don't agree on economics. We don't agree on immigration. We don't agree on the trans issue. We don't agree on what were the other big issues? There are a lot of things we don't agree on. Like, we may agree on one or two things that classify us as left, but when it comes to these weirdos like Hasan and Sam Cedar and people like that, absolutely not. I do not have anything in common with them because in the big picture, they are completely and utterly wrong, in my opinion.
No, because we have to.
But you're not the singular
the
force.
Idiots are making everyone think they are the left. They're like, we're the left, we're the real left. Okay, we are super extreme. We want free surgeries for every criminal. Yes, we're the left. And oh, Nazi. And Huss, what happens? People think they are the left. So if you say you're right, Cenk, those are the extreme idiot left.
I don't
and
think
you
that
are
they're
the
the
left,
extreme,
then I'm okay.
No, I don't think those are the extreme idiot left. I think that there is going to be a diversity of thought in any issue that people have. And it's a matter of who you make your enemies in the finite amount of time that we have on the space, the finite amount of time that we have, living on planet Earth. It's about the economy of time and utilizing it appropriately. I don't spend any time. I do not spend any
just
time.
Let him attack you and sit there and don't correct anything. Let all the lies fester.
So right now, Cenk is talking about all the different various attacks that he has fielded from these different people. And Cenk's nephew's position is that Cenk and the Young Turks should never respond to them. They should just bend the knee, admit that they're wrong, and take it on the chin, despite the fact that these people are going out of their way to defame Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian. And by the way, this is a consistent position that he's held. We're going to talk about somebody that he defended
sensational,
after
long
they
time no
viciously
see.
attacked and deliberately lied about Anna Kasparian, which is just more proof positive that he's a coward. But I just want this conversation to run a little bit because they mentioned Dave Rubin right there, and Cenk's nephew says, oh, but he's a right-winger, so you can attack him. But the Majority Report, they're left-wingers, so you're not allowed to attack the Majority Report because they're on the left wing, and that would be wildly inappropriate.
Wait, you didn't let me finish. So Dave Rubin, now he's a laughingstock. Then Jimmy Doran comes in
because Dave Rubin is a right winger. Majority Report is not.
So you're saying
you are in agreement with the Majority Report.
No, hold on. Let me finish the thought. Let me finish the thought. So on Jimmy Dore, he comes in, he goes, oh, they're paid by Nancy Pelosi, they're paid by the CIA. Lunatic, right?
Jimmy Dore is a lunatic.
We let it fester. Finally, we're like, get this out of here. And we tell the people truth and we crush him. Now he's a joke on the internet, right? So we go on, and anytime we don't fight, it festers. Anytime we do fight, we crush them and we move the on, and nobody thinks Jimmy Dore's the left anymore. Nobody thinks Dave Rubin's the left anymore.
Now, need I remind you guys that when they were discussing Anna Kasparian and her issues with crime, they were talking about how people like Anna Kasparian get titillated by the idea of being victimized by criminals.
Disgusting.
Despite the fact that Anna was sexually assaulted.
That's right.
But it's sort. You're right, Bender. But it's also people like get titillated by it. To be honest with you, that haven't experienced it before.
So the Majority Report, who he defends, engages in the dirtiest, nastiest, lowest tactics against a woman that he's known for over 10 years, that's worked for Cenk for nearly 20 years, his uncle, who jump-started his career, who is obviously somebody who he should be thanking, and he's like, no, the Majority Report, that's a sacred cow. You have to protect them. Now, it's going to get...
You know, the thing that kills me, and I've mentioned this before, I used to watch Sam Cedar years ago. And I stopped watching all of them. I stopped watching Pac-Man. I stopped watching Majority Report. I haven't watched The Young Turks in years, and only recently resubscribed because occasionally, you know, it's sort of like the story about how a stop clock is right twice a day. So, you know, I tune in to see if they have a hot take on something that I agree with, right? I don't know what the hell has happened to Sam Cedar. I mean, years ago, Sam Cedar had a really great sense of humor, and the show was a lot more lighthearted, and it was a lot more funny, and the people on the panel and the participants weren't a bunch of humorless, tight-lipped, scolding pantloads. So I don't know. Yeah, Shadow, she was assaulted by a homeless guy. She was out walking her dog, and the guy came up behind her and he had an erection, and I mean, his pants were on, but he grabbed her by the hips and he like thrust at her, and he scared her because it was nighttime. Her husband wasn't around. She didn't have any self-defense with her, and it frightened her very, very badly. And after she was assaulted, everybody came, well, not everybody, but the people from this Be Kind community all came down on her like a ton of bricks and said, you know, you shouldn't be criticizing, you know, unhoused people. You should be more compassionate or some bullshit like that. And Anna blew a gasket. And I think that that was, for Anna, the last straw. I think that that's what really pushed her over the edge. And the scales fell from her eyes. And she finally realized, wait a minute, these people that I thought were allies are a bunch of scumbags that will abandon you at the drop of a hat if you step out of line with the shibboleths that we're supposed to be repeating and believing and spreading to our audience. So yeah, they're horrible, absolutely horrible. And I don't even know who these people are on Majority Report anymore, but that woman is ghastly. I've seen other clips of her, and she's out of her mind.
Significantly worse. Let us just move a little bit further throughout this.
And so now these guys come and attack us, going, "Yeah, we're the real left, we're the real left."
There's a difference.
And you're saying, "No, don't crush them. Just let them fester
because
and people pretend that they're the real left."
You're
yeah, Shadow, it was bad.
That.
You're
so
not.
If you're going to say stupid and you're going to try to punch us in the face, we're going to punch you back, not on our behalf, on behalf of Democratic voters.
Hey, Tizzy,
who
how you
are
doing?
Lying about. The Democratic voters do not agree with you.
Exactly,
they agree
Breeze.
with us. So
I don't even.
Day for you, and I'm not going to let you lie and pretend that Democratic voters are on your side, because you're a fucking liar, and they're not on your side.
So look, obviously Cenk is yelling, obviously Cenk is getting unhinged in this moment, but the substance of what he's saying is absolutely 100% correct, and I've experienced this kind of nonsense in my own time on the internet.com. People will crop up out of nowhere, they'll level insane criticisms at you, they'll lie about you, they'll smear you, and then if you attack them back, all of a sudden you're a big channel attacking a little baby channel,
right?
Even though when I I was a smaller channel, this was not something that I was ever concerned about. I was never afraid of the size of somebody's audience because I knew I was in the right, and I was willing to face and confront anybody at any audience size based on the arguments. But Cenk's nephew is doing this thing where he's defending all these people who attack the Young Turks. Some of them are smaller streamers, not the majority report, who again has, I think, over 1 million subscribers. So they would be considered on a reasonable level with TYT. And he's like, oh, don't waste any time attacking them or anything like that. They're just small people chirping at you. And, you know, they're going to play the victim when you attack back. And you should just deal with that. That is an absolute.
Yeah, this is absolute horseshit. I mean, look at that. Look at the small accounts, the small channels that came after Mr. Beast, and the enormous amount of damage that they did to Mr. Beast, who I think he has the biggest channel on YouTube. He has, what, 100 million subscribers? And these little tiny Chihuahua channels came out of nowhere, started nipping at his heels, spreading falsehoods. They cost him business. They cost him money. They cost him a lot of damage reputationally. And so sometimes you really have to nip people in the bud. You have to stop them before they get out of hand. And it doesn't matter. I mean, I've heard this punching down argument a million times. I've heard it a million times. It never stopped bigger channels from coming after my channel. Never. They'll bitch and moan into eternity, but when they find a way to come after a smaller channel that's criticizing them, not spreading lies, not, you know, issuing calls to get their channels taken down or violating TOS or anything, they will come after you with absolutely no hesitation. So this, you know, punching down thing is a pile of bullshit.
Absolutely cowardly move. It caters to these people, and I am not about that kind of energy. Again, if you make a video response to me and I see it and it's stupid and I think it's hilarious, there is a chance that I will respond to you. There is a chance that I will dissect your stupid video and I will make fun of you while doing it.
Completely and utterly unproductive conversation to have.
Your strategy is when grifters on the left attack you, whether it's
I don't think they're
Rubin,
grifters.
I think Cedar's a grifter.
I disagree.
Okay.
Now, this is the moment right here that I found hilarious because Cenk calls Sam Cedar a grifter, and to
Which
be
is
100%
hilarious.
clear, this is the lowest form of criticism. I'm actually 100% against Cenk in this regard, just like I'm against.
I don't think
everybody
Sam is
who's
a
labeling
grifter
everyone
either.
A grifter, and the reason why is because that doesn't address the points. If you
Right.
want to say that somebody who's arguing against you is not even believing their own positions, that's perfectly fine, but that still does not overcome your responsibility to be able to refute those positions. Again, the person who has this 100% right is Ann Coulter, who is often being tagged with accusations that she doesn't believe the things that she says, and Ann Coulter responds to these accusations by saying, look, I'm successful, more successful than you, saying the things that I don't believe. So what does that say about you and how terrible you are in arguing for what you do believe? I think that is the appropriate response to these allegations, or as the super mayor would call them, alizations.
False allegations. And now
Oh my God.
And I just don't like this whole line of reasoning or whatever, where everybody's a grifter, nobody believes anything, everybody's a bad person, and oh my God, their grift is so grifty or whatever. So Cenk right here, I think you could argue against him on those grounds.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify, those of you who are correcting me in chat are right. Not every single allegation was false. But there were some allegations, and I'm trying to remember because I'm going to be perfectly honest, I didn't follow it that closely. But the allegations about the reality show that he was producing and the injuries that were suffered on that show and people starving or people getting injured and all that, that was grossly exaggerated. And he's going to sue them. He's going to sue that dog patch, whatever his name is, and that Rosie lady, because a lot of what they were saying was either completely untrue or it was grossly exaggerated. And yeah, the crypto scams, absolutely. The crypto scams 100%.
Being said, Cenk's nephew's defense of him, rather odd considering he never defends his uncle.
Completely and utterly unproductive conversation to have.
Your strategy is when grifters on the left attack you, whether it's
I don't think they're
Rubin,
grifters.
I think Cedar's a grifter.
I disagree.
Okay. Oh, by the way, so now all of a sudden you're defending Cedar. When he calls me a grifter, you don't defend.
I don't. First of all, I've never heard him call you a grifter.
He's called me every name in the book.
Okay.
He's a low rent grifter.
Stop.
Okay, no, I'll tell you. I'll out him right now. When we were in Vegas together, when we were in the same network, he starts attacking Jimmy Dore, and I say, hey, cut this shit out. I agree with you, not Jimmy, but you're attacking him in a way that is over the top and totally unnecessary and counterproductive. And you know what Sam said to me? Sam said, oh, well, he has a bigger audience than me. So if I do that, I'm going to siphon off of his audience. You know why I siphon off? Oh, because I'm right and he is wrong. And the audience deserves to hear my truth. So he's doing the same thing to us.
Now, look, again, I don't know how Cenk is phrasing this conversation or anything of the sort. And to me, the term grifter is not actually applicable here. The term propagandist is far more suited to Sam Cedar.
That I agree with,
a bunch
yes.
of these people have said
That's
that
correct.
you should avoid talking about issues that hurt the left, even if they're true. That, to me, is much more crucial than the conversation about whether or not he's doing it for money or whether or not he's
Agreed.
successful in other aspects of his life. So unlike many of us, he doesn't need to do YouTube for money. That is a totally different conversation. It's not something that I'm all that interested in. But what I do find interesting is that Cenk's nephew immediately leapt to the defense of Sam Cedar of the Majority Report.
Of course.
And then, in addition to this, to prove his disloyalty, to prove his scumbaggery, he then called into the Majority Report and referred to Sam Cedar as his real uncle.
Thank you for having me. I love the Majority Report, and you know, it's unfortunate that my real uncle Sam Cedar was not on today, but Emma, you're doing a great job.
Now, look, I'm not.
Wow, Hasan. Wow, Hasan. That is really, really low. And if he's going to say that that was a joke, which I'm sure he will, he'll try to laugh it off and say, oh, ha, 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 whatever. Can you imagine? Can you imagine doing that when you know that Sam Cedar has gone after your blood relative? We're talking about family here. We're talking about family. And he was willing to stab Cenk in the back, the guy who gave him his start. You know, without Cenk, Hasan would be some middling nobody streamer. Let's be honest. I mean, when he went to Twitch, he didn't steal Cenk's audience, but he certainly appropriated them. And imagine being so thankless and such a spoiled, nasty piece of shit that you go on the channel that really upsets your... I mean, did he have to do that? Did he have to do that? What, I mean, if this doesn't tell you everything you need to know, I mean, you know that Hasan is stupid. You know he's wrong about a lot of stuff. You know that he's a terror sympathizer. You know that his audience is cancer. But now you also know that he really doesn't care about family. He has no loyalty. He couldn't give a fuck. Does it surprise me? A little bit. I got to be honest. I thought that, you know, family was more important than this horse shit, but apparently I was wrong.
I'm not saying you can't disagree with your family members, to be clear about that, but to go out of your way to bend over backwards to provide comfort to the enemies of your family members,
right,
to people who are going after them in all these different ways, to people like Sam Cedar, who immediately did a segment where they were making fun of Cenk for being sponsored by Polymarket, implying that he was a grifter and that he'll take money from anyone, to me is a cowardness beyond all reason.
Yeah. So, oh my God, that is so goddamn loud. Why? My poor ears.
I understand that they were sponsored by.
Well, you're
Polymarket.
a grifter, apparently. That's the thing. Is look, I've worked at both.
I'll put it this way: I'm willing to put a bet on a overseas betting market.
Yes.
I'm willing to put a bet that he won't invite me on to discuss this.
Now, again, Cenk's nephew doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to go out of his way to stab his uncle directly in the back, but he does that because that's who he is, a coward to his core. And a perfect example of this is the whole controversy around the birthing person thing, which you'll remember a bunch of lefties did a stream called the Leftist Mafia stream, where they attacked Anna Kasparian for being white and therefore being a Karen. And a perfect example of these baseless, vicious attacks comments. Is this woman Oleami, whatever the hell her last name is, it doesn't matter, who decided that she was going to post clips of Anna reading quotes of people saying the N-word onto her timeline? And by the way, the context of all these clips is that Anna Kasparian was condemning these people who said the N-word with this caption: "Don't you dare call her a birthing person, but she'll gladly call you the N-word."
Oh my God, this is giving me such deja vu. This is exactly what Vidal did to me. Exactly the same thing. And tried to brand me as a racist. Vidal went on a panel with BX Beast Boy, who's also black. I don't know what Vidal is. I still don't know. And he really called her out and insulted her and dragged her. And so she goes on Twitter and has a massive meltdown where she called him everything but a child of God, used every racist trope in the book that she proceeded to hurl at him. I go on stream, I pull up those tweets, and I read them verbatim. And all of a sudden, I am being targeted by these wackos on YouTube and on Twitter who were like, oh my God, she said the N-word. It's like I read a tweet verbatim. I read it verbatim. Well, you shouldn't have done that. Well, but that's what she wrote. Why are you attacking me for reading it, but you're not attacking the person who wrote it? And that went on. Yeah, Uncle Ruckus and everything else. And it went on and on and on and on. And I was like, is everybody crazy? Has everybody lost their goddamn mind? I need to reach out to Anna. She and I need to sit down and, have a little conversation about what it's like to be attacked unfairly by these race pimps who accuse you of doing things and leave out a major part of the story and try to smear you with that brush. It's never ending, apparently.
Call you the N-word. That's what Oleyama, whatever the hell her name is, decided that she was going to label Anna clearly and obviously reading quotes of other people who she was condemning saying the N-word. Now, this was out there. This was in the public. This is obviously a nasty, vicious smear. So when this was brought forward to Cenk's nephew, when he had to talk about this topic,
we should do a panel. I agree.
Did he
all the
side
Annas.
with Anna Kasparian, who had worked with Cenk for over a decade and a half at the time that this controversy went down? Did he condemn Olay for attacking Anna in this vicious way? By the way, weaponizing race and lying about it in order to do so? No, he worshipped
Who else does that?
Olay.
Now, I love Oleemi. I think Oleemi is great.
Of course you do.
I'm excited to have her on the broadcast. Hopefully, eventually.
Again, as this woman is going out of her way to viciously attack Anna, and by the way, you can see some of the tweets of her going after Anna that Cenk's nephew has on screen at the time. He's like, I love Oleemi. I want her on the broadcast. She's so swell. The way that she defamed Anna Kasparian, somebody that I used to work with, somebody that my uncle still works with, and she went out of her way to do so over, again, a tweet related to the term birthing person. I just love that so hard about her because Cenk's nephew is a coward who, again, has no loyalty at all whatsoever. Now, of course, one of the absolute most obvious examples of this is the fallout of Leftovers, his fallout with Ethan Klein.
I just want to say that this guy's a fucking evil piece of shit for saying that.
Can I ask you a question?
Can I finish? Let me finish.
Okay, we'll finish this, but I do have a question for you because I think you're going to agree with something I'm about to say.
Yes. Let's just finish it and then we'll talk.
Invaded the United States, and they said, you know what? Cincinnati, Ohio is our ancestral home. And, everyone knows that's blatantly false. But they take your home, they murder your grandma, they bulldoze, like, your neighbor's house. Are those people civilians there? No, they're occupiers. And those are criminals. There are no civilians there in the illegal military occupation.
Yeah. So that's number one.
I mean, that's so callous. It's kind of hard to even believe just how flippant he can be about calling babies militants that are deserving to be killed.
Now, to be clear, Ethan Klein is like 95% on board with Cenk's nephew when it comes.
Ethan Klein is a complete embarrassment and a capo. He has been a capo, and so is Hila. Ethan Klein is one of the most spineless, ridiculous human beings on the planet. But even Ethan Klein got slapped across the face with reality and realized that taking that position that he took, even though he may still have some sympathy for the Palestinians, whatever, I don't care about that. It's the way that he was willing to bend the knee to people like Hasan that infuriates me. And the slavering way that he bent the knee to all of those, tanky weirdos. But he learned his lesson. I don't know how much it's going to affect him. I know he's been going hard after Hasan. And I know that I'm supposed to be gracious and say better late than never, but I don't respect him, and I don't respect Hila also. Give me a break.
To the Palestinian issue, he's totally in the tank for these people. He is willing to throw his own wife's nation of origin under the bus, Israel,
Sure is.
for Cenk's nephew, but that's not good enough. The fact that Ethan wanted him to, condemn the rampant anti-Semitism in his own community that was attacking Ethan as somebody who is the co-host of Cenk's nephew, nope, no way. He didn't give any ground to him at all whatsoever.
Of course
hung
not.
them out to dry for those people. And even when he asked him to condemn the people calling for the murder of everybody in Israel, Cenk's nephew said, no, screw you, you're the problem.
By the way, I'm not even defending I'm not even I'm just trying to tell you guys how it feels. And I'm fucking shocked that you don't care that people in your chat are saying, who the fuck is this child cold, arrogant?
I love you, but there's only so much I can do.
How can you be surprised when your Discord is literally full of fucking
Ethan, I love you, but there's only so much I can do if you're making that argument. You know that, right? Like, at a certain point, you're an adult, and the words that you're saying are going to be perceived by people in a certain way. I can't constantly tell my community to shut the fuck up, which I have, and I think they should. But at the end of the day, it's because I know you personally, and I think your heart is in the right place. But they don't know, so it's hard. It's hard for people to view what you're saying beyond
I'm just telling
your
you
words.
the perspective. You disagree. That's it. I mean, what the fuck do you want from me?
Okay.
I mean, Ethan, what you're going to have to recognize, and I think that he has recognized it at this point, it took him a while, but I think he finally figured out that all that Hasan cares about is his audience, because his audience pays him. And I go back and forth on this, but I really do believe that Hasan agrees with his audience. I do. Does he turn it up? Does he exaggerate for the purposes of fan servicing? Perhaps. Hasan doesn't have friends. You understand that, right? When you get to that level and you are that much of a radical, you do not have friends. He will throw anyone under the bus. Anyone. And yeah, Hasan's community is a cesspool of anti-Semitism. We all know this. That's why Twitch is in trouble. That's why Twitch is going through an adpocalypse right now, because of the extreme language and the extreme content that Hasan and his, mods and his allies show. And I said allies, not friends. Please, I want to be clear on that. It's because of the content that they pump out on Twitch, and what they're doing, because of their selfishness and their greed, is they are now screwing over all the smaller Twitch channels that are seeing a huge drop in revenue because of this adpocalypse. But of course, Hasan doesn't care. But Hasan doesn't have any friends. Not really. If he's willing to fuck his own family over, what do you think he'd do to these so-called friends?
Okay. But do you get where I'm coming from?
Again,
Bye,
he
Cheryl.
called Ethan his friend over and over and over again on all these different various streams. But when he just asked him to see his perspective, when he just asked him to tell people to chill out, he ended up blaming Ethan for the community that he weaponized to hate Jews, hate Israelis.
And there are baby settlers as well. But there are baby settlers as well. There are babies in the settlement.
And said that he was
Did you guys catch that? There are babies in the settlements. Okay, Hasan, so they're open season. Babies are open season. I thought that you were very sensitive and, a big protector of babies and children. But apparently that if a baby is living on an Israeli settlement, and by the way, the definition of settlement, according to these people, is anything within the greater state of Israel. It's not just the areas that are in dispute. It's any part of Israel. It was the kids at the Nova Music Festival. It was the people living on those kibbutzim next to the Gaza envelope or in the Gaza envelope. Hasan is a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. But yeah, I mean, babies, according to Hasan, are legitimate targets. He just said it himself. Not in those exact words, but that was his intent.
Responsible for the condemnation that he was receiving from those people, because Cenk's
Hey,
nephew
Anne-Marie.
will never back anybody. He will betray you immediately. The greatest thing he has in common with a communist is not the fact that, of course, he is an elite himself. He is extraordinarily wealthy.
Yes,
he would
he is.
never subject himself to the terms in which he wants to enforce on society, but
Yep.
also the fact that he will betray you at the drop of a hat, because
Yep.
that's who he is to his core.
Yes, he is.
Disloyal, cowardly, and weak through and through. And that's really what I want you to take home from this particular video. If you're friends with this guy, just wait for the moment when it's slightly inconvenient for him to be friends with you and see
Right.
what he does. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social media, support me via support links in the description of this video.
Okay, I like that guy's channel. He's another one. I don't agree with everything he says, but I do like his delivery. I like his editing. I like the fact that he provides, backup and evidence for his claims. And I do enjoy his channel. All right, so we're going to close out with my favorite, Karina Kaboom. But before we do, I am going to take a quick break, and I will be right back in 1 second. Chat amongst yourselves, 2 minutes. Okay, I'm back. Did I know about that channel? Yes, Cheryl, I did. I had seen those videos before, because now that I started this new YouTube channel for us, for me and for Negs, I have a nice pristine feed, and the algorithm has been coughing up some very, very interesting content. But when you told me about the channel, I was reminded of the channel, and I was very pleased. Now, Karina, I'm noticing that there's a little bit, not much, but a teensy, weensy bit more interest in Karina's content. Jordy and Snowflake and others have been getting the lion's share of criticism because of their lies and their exaggerations and so on. However, people tend to forget Karina has a big channel. Karina has over 100,000 subscribers. And Karina's entire life revolves around Amberlynn Reid. She is every bit as bad as the others, but and her clickbaiting is out of control. Her corny jokes are out of control. Her nonsense is out of control. She may not come right out and call somebody a murderer the way that Jordy and Snowflake do. However, Karina is really, really bad with the speculation, making the same points over and over and over and over again. Karina, we all know that Amberlynn is a liar. Okay, we're all well aware of the fact that she is a liar. We get it. We've been watching her a long time too. She brings nothing to the table except for manufactured drama and nitpicking, and clickbaiting, which is infuriating. So anyway, she has been uploading like crazy. It's December. I think she's uploaded twice today. She goes back and she reviews Instagram Q&As that happened a while ago, and she acts like they're brand new, and she critiques each and every word in this video. It's ridiculous. Now, I know that it's easier to grab Amberlynn's videos during Vlogmas because Amberlynn's Vlogmas content has been horrendous. I mean, the videos are like 5 minutes long, and they're not very festive, and they're not interesting. So I picked a video yesterday because I haven't watched the ones that she uploaded today. Because listen, there are only so many hours in the day, and my stomach can only handle so much of this woman. And also, I wanted to pick a shorter one because the woman gets on my nerves. Yeah. Oh, he's not striking channels anymore. Well, I'm not taking a chance with that guy. Imagine a guy who falsely accuses people of committing murder going out and striking other people's channels. Isn't that amazing? He's got a lot of nerve. He really does. Let's go.
My favorite girly pops. I'm so excited to be here with you today. If you're asleep, wake up because we're going to be talking about some Amberlynn Reid drama.
Oh,
So
what else is new?
Amby is taken to her YouTube channel. My favorite, most entertaining, riveting, amazing YouTuber, Amberlynn Reid. She's my favorite. I don't know if you can tell. Basically, she is going to explain all the tea with Gracie, Destiny's ex-cat, and
God, not that
Rarity,
again.
and answering some questions about her lost cat. And you see, she decided not to offer a big reward because other people don't. It's a wonderful time to be alive, girls. It's the best time to be alive. I feel like a girl of 2021 again.
How many times has she made that joke? Remember when she had the repeating guy, that toy that, you would speak to it and it would repeat the words back to you? And she would say, oh, that's the repeating guy again. Hey, he's got to eat. I think that she told that joke about 500,000 times. Like this girl of 2021 joke. She tells that in every fucking stream. She drives these jokes into the ground. They're only mildly amusing the first time she tells them. And then she just, it's too much. Get some new material.
Okay, we're going to talk about a lot of Amberlynn Reid drama, or My Name Isn't Bob, or Wilmer. Wilmer? Who is Wilmer? I meant Wilbur. No, none of those are my names, actually. So we're going to get into a lot of Amberlynn Reid's drama, all of her new videos. It's an exciting time to be alive. She's doing Vlogmas for 5 or 6 minutes. Does the fun ever start? Okay, everything I'm saying.
And that's the other one. Does the fun ever start? I think she's told that joke about 689,000 times. And it's not funny anymore, Karina. It's just not funny. Make me laugh, for God's sake. I mean, it's embarrassing. Sometimes I wonder if her mind is okay. I really do.
In this video is just for entertainment purposes only. Nothing is meant to be taken seriously whatsoever. I am sharing my own opinions, not facts, on publicly accessible information first made public by public figures first. Say that 20 times fast. Please do not go to these people's videos and channels and leave mean-spirited, negative, disparaging comments. Please don't bother these people on their videos. Also, have you ever wanted to purchase a Kermit? Now you can purchase a Kermit. This is my affiliate link. If you go there and you purchase a Kermit.
Yeah, please don't go to people's channels and leave negative, disparaging comments. Don't do anything untowards. Just create a YouTube channel, drag them every day, and monetize it. While clickbaiting titles and exaggerating everything that you see, accusing people falsely of being murderers, not that Karina's ever done that, making all kinds of defamatory claims about them, but don't go on their videos. Don't go on their videos, please. That would be completely out of line.
With my link, please let me know when it ships so I could be excited for you. Now on with the drama. Okay, so before we get started, I just wanted to let you know, in case you don't know, all of the Vlogmas videos that you are seeing from Amberlynn were filmed in November, which I think
How
is
do you know that?
disingenuous.
How do you know that?
I don't think there's anything wrong with pre-recording at all, but pre-recording Vlogmas and pretending that you filmed all of this in December is not right. She has.
Who gives a shit, Karina? Who cares? Who cares when the videos were filmed? First of all the videos are terrible. So whether she filmed them this summer, last year, last month, it doesn't matter because the content is shitty. All right. So it doesn't really matter one way or the other. How do you know that she pre-filmed all of them? And yes, we all know that Amberlynn will do that. She will film a whole chunk of content, cut it up, release it slowly over a period of time. And then tell monstrous lies about it. She's been doing this for years. She's been doing it for years. Who cares? We're all onto her. We are all aware of it. It doesn't fucking matter. What do you think she's cheating us out of, Karina? You think that Amberlynn is going down to some wonderful Christmas display? You think she's going on some all expenses paid, glamorous vacation to Aruba? Do you think that that you're missing out on all their incredible decorations in the house? I mean, you've got to be kidding me. It doesn't matter. The girl doesn't do anything most of the time. So what difference would it make when she recorded these videos? It doesn't matter.
Not showing you the date on purpose in her videos at all. You know how whenever like she used to do Vlogmas, she would say, this is Vlogmas day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you couldn't even do Vlogmas the way everybody else does. Now, I can
So
understand
what?
if you're not doing Vlogmas and you're just pre-recording, that's a whole other thing. She is infamous for lying to you and misleading you about actually pre-recording and posting very old content.
Okay, my understanding of Vlogmas, I understand what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be almost like an advent calendar. You know, you start on the 1st of December and then you record videos leading up to Christmas, and you're supposed to have like a holiday theme to these videos. But I think that a long time ago, Vlogmas became something else. Once everybody caught on to the reality that December is the highest month in terms of revenue. December is the best month for YouTube. There's a lot more advertising. You make more money. And so people just started uploading random videos every day in order to take advantage of the higher December ad rates and all of that shit, right? So for a lot of people, Vlogmas now isn't about the holidays. It's about, okay, I'm going to pump out as much content as I possibly can, and it can only be tangentially related to the holiday or not related to the holiday at all. I'm just going to put out a lot of content in December, cash in, maybe take some time off in January when all of that money goes away. It doesn't matter, Karina. It really doesn't fucking matter.
The way that I knew that it was pre-recorded, I'm going to prove to you once and for all it's pre-recorded in 1 minute. But
Wow.
before I do, it's obvious. So she has all of her Vlogmas videos scheduled out for 11 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
And knowing our girl, she's not working every single day. Also, 11
Okay.
o'clock in the morning, that's usually around the time that I post, Ambi. The thing is that what she's doing.
You really believe, Karina, please tell me that you don't believe that Amberlynn is posting at 11 a.m. because that's when you post your videos. Please tell me you're not one of those, oh, I know Amberlynn is watching me. Oh, I know Foodie is watching me. I know she watches everything I do and blah, blah, blah. How do you know that? Oh, I know she watches here. How do you know that? How can you be so sure? I mean, she probably does watch Karina. I know she's got a real problem with Karina, and I would too if Karina was posting about my ass every day. Hey, Anne-Marie. And I know that she's got a real problem with Jordy, as I would if I had a content creator who was stirring up a hate mob against my girlfriend and people were calling the hospital or the nursing board trying to get her fired, and accusing my girlfriend of being a murderer with no evidence, and running and broadcasting weird messages from some bizarre woman who can't seem to get over the fact that her ex-wife. Oh, and I didn't catch you guys up on this Jordy thing. This is very interesting. So we have come to find out after a considerable period of time, that woman who was writing to Jordy on Instagram and spilling all this tea about how her ex-wife ran off with Tommy. What the woman didn't reveal until recently was that she was cheating on that other lady and that they had basically been separated. They weren't together anymore when the ex-wife ran off with Tommy. So this whole notion that Tommy was this like homewrecker and blah, 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 it's not true. That lady that was writing to Jordy had a lot of skeletons in her closet that eventually came out, and nobody cared. Nobody sat back and said, wait a second, but didn't you give the impression that it was Tommy who destroyed your marriage, and now it turns out that that's not true? But Jordy's audience doesn't care. They don't give a shit. They're like Frenchie's audience. They probably are Frenchie's audience, to be honest with you. Yeah, that would get on my fucking nerves. Someone who's coming after my loved one's occupation. Yeah, that would piss me the fuck off.
Is
Absolutely.
she's changing the time that she's posting because she doesn't have to get the video up that day. You understand? It was obvious that it was pre-recorded. But I know that people always look for proof. So here it is. So Zachary Michael Reaction Channel, I'll link that down below. They were interviewed by the same person that interviewed Amber supposedly
Hey,
for this
Wuggy
interview.
Butts.
And well, I'll just let you see this clip.
See what
Oh
what
my
my text
God.
messages with the journalist said. Yeah, okay, so it was on Thanksgiving Day that I was messaging with the journalist, and they said that they interviewed Amberlynn the day before Thanksgiving. So I think all of that to say is I think the good news is that some of this is pre-recorded.
Okay, so everything that you were saying is pre-recorded old content. How dare
And about that NBC journalist that has been reaching out to all these people, reaching out to Amberlynn and Zach and Yo Mama and whatever. I don't know this for a fact. I'm just speculating, but I think it's the same woman that Kat something or other. I can't remember her last name. The woman who wrote the expose on Shani and Rev 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? It was whenever Shani and Rev, it was around the time that they left Colorado. And I think that that's who it is because she moved to NBC from wherever she was, Gawker or not Gawker, the other one with the listicles. She moved from being an online journalist and then she moved over to NBC and her beat is social media. So I suspect that it's her. Is it Arbinger or something? I don't remember, but I think that that's the person who's reaching out to everybody.
you tried to pass this off as new content for December, so you couldn't actually really do Vlogmas, which is fine. I always say, hey, it's okay if you don't want to. So she didn't want to do Vlogmas. She's obviously saying, oh my God, I'm only posting 3 or 5 minutes, whatever, no expectations. It's your job. The thing is, you couldn't do Vlogmas. You've already failed at doing Vlogmas because you are posting pre-recorded old videos. Sweetheart, we understand you don't want to film every single day in December. Then why don't you just leave and not post? I have been championing the idea of her leaving and not posting every single day because I'm all right with it. How about you? So yes, all of the content you're seeing, it was obvious it was pre-recorded because she would never get those videos up every day by 11 o'clock. What a strange time. She almost never post at 11 anyways. What a weird time to post for somebody that usually posts at night or later on in the middle of the day. Yeah, they're pre-recorded, pre-scheduled, and that interview was before like the holidays. Okay, Ambi, why didn't you tell your audience you're posting old pre-recorded content for Vlogmas? And I just want to
because the audience is on to her racket. Because the audience is well aware of what Amberlynn does, or they're assuming that because she's done this in the past, that she's going to do it again. Everybody is onto it. You're not reinventing the wheel, Karina. You are not 60 Minutes. Everybody is aware of it. Hey, Sarah's mom, how you doing? Did she? I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that. There were so many articles that were posted about Jaclyn Hill and the lipstick that I probably missed that one, but you may be right. Because again, that is her beat. So sure, why not?
be very clear because whenever I post these videos, sometimes there's people in the comment section saying things. So I'm clear. It's okay to pre-record. It's not okay to be deviant about it and to be devious about it and to try to pass it off as current content. That's not right. So what happens in this video? Amberlynn breaks like a fixture that I guess the towels are supposed to be on in Tommy's bathroom and Tommy's shower. So you broke something in Tommy's shower. She was like saying, oh my God, Tommy's trying to make me feel bad, saying that always happens. Tommy, please, that does not always happen because why was it not broken when Amber came there? Why, like,
probably because the last time that happened, Tommy fixed it. Did you ever consider that? Maybe that's a possibility. Maybe the towel rack isn't, screwed into the wall tightly enough. Maybe there's a problem with the pins or whatever. Did you consider that? I mean, it's this sub-mental idiocy that really gets on my
Amber's
nerves.
just like careless when she has things, when she is around people and things. Just like
Is
the way
she?
cats run away from her, supposedly run away, or maybe something else happened. She breaks things. My question here is twofold. Number
I don't really remember Amberlynn being an especially clumsy person and breaking a lot of stuff. I don't recall that. And granted, I hadn't watched her in years. Maybe she became clumsy at some point, but I don't remember when she was living in Kentucky or if in that house with Ricky and Eric, or when she and Becky moved to Lexington. I don't remember stories about her breaking stuff. But anything for a fucking talking point. What a farce.
one, so did you
Hey,
decide
Ritz.
to pay Tommy for what you broke? Because, I mean, this isn't your home,
What?
right? You don't really live there, right? And even if you
Wait, what? I mean, so you think that because the towel rack was detached from the wall, that she needs to pay Tommy? This is a very simple fix. It's not like she broke some priceless family heirloom or an antique or, a baccarat glass or something. It was a towel rack that came loose from the wall and it was fixed. So pay her for what? What are you talking about, Karina? We are really reaching at this point. We are really reaching for content. And this is the same woman who criticizes Amberlynn for her non-tent, and this is what she uploads and makes money off of. Okay.
you did live there, you should definitely be paying for whatever you break. And that's like something important to talk about. I do believe it's her home now. I don't care if she says
Yeah, that's
that,
super
oh,
important to
well,
talk about.
I went ahead and I'm still paying the
Life
rent back in
altering.
Oklahoma, which is nonsensical. Why would you, pay two rents? Now, of course, there's no technical rent in Tommy's house, or is there?
Yeah, I was going to say, why would she be paying rent in Tommy's place? Tommy has a job. She pays her own rent. Why would she be paying two rents? You see what I mean? Where does this come from? Where does it come from except from the deepest recesses of Karina's rectum? Where is she pulling this out of? And she's probably paying rent back in Oklahoma because she hasn't moved all of her stuff out. And it's like paying storage at this point. But paying two rents, you see what I mean? I mean, it's not exactly the same as being accused of being a murderer. It's not that bad. We haven't gotten to that level yet. But it's the lies and the supposition and the extrapolation and the nitpicking and making a big drama out of nothing. I mean, we all know Amberlynn's content is boring as fuck. So if you have to work this hard to make it interesting, that's a problem.
Are you giving Tommy any money? We'd love to hear that in the next
Why do you need to know
video.
that?
But she's obviously moved there and she's going to do like, a clickbaity video about it soon. Like, I moved to Tommy's. So
Yeah.
does she really have to pay for it if she lives there? Also, and this is way more important. Look, I would have never shown people that I broke anything in
Neither would I.
Tommy's house if I did.
But she has no other content.
She knows exactly what she's doing by showing that. And I'm going to explain to you
Yeah.
why. So this person wants very badly to say that she is the victim of what people say about her, right, on the internet. However,
Well, she kind of is, though.
and this is really, really, really interesting to me. She plays right into it with these type of thumbnails. She clearly shows that she's breaking fixtures in the shower. For what reason? Because she needs you to talk about it so she can make more money. Look.
Okay, that is true. She is trying to generate some interest in her channel. Now, with Tommy, she's got a problem in terms of the reaction channels that she didn't have with Becky or Crystal or Destiny or people like that. When she was with Crystal and Destiny, her channel was very small. When she got with Becky, her channel started growing a lot. But Becky was unemployed. Becky was at home all day. So Becky didn't have a job to call. Becky didn't have employment where people could leave bad Yelp reviews or call the boss or, torment the other workers in the business. Jade was a different story because Jade continued to work, but because she kept Jade off camera and Jade wasn't really a part of her channel, people left her alone. They showed Jade a lot of grace. I mean, not entirely. Of course, Jade was photographed and all of her personal business was put out there and people gossiped about her and stuff. But as far as I know, nobody ever contacted Jade's employer because Jade was smart enough to stay out of the fuck shit. She didn't show her face. She didn't do those couples, Q&As or those live streams or anything. So, yeah, all we saw was her hands and her arms. That's it. But with Tommy, she's got a problem because she's been showing Tommy, and that means, according to these idiots, not only in the reaction channels, but also their audiences, it gives them the signal. I mean, they've said as much. Well, she's a public figure now, so we can do whatever we want to her. It's disgusting. It reminds me of the drama community. It's exactly the same thing. Like, what is it that Tommy has done to merit this level of hatred apart from be the target of some outrageous smear campaigns? It's disgusting. From some very dishonest people and their insane, obsessed audiences. So that is the problem that Amberlynn has now, is that she's with somebody who actually has a job, and that job can be compromised by these idiots.
It's either all okay or none of it is okay. Why is it okay that she perpetuates drama with her audience and then gets
What
upset
drama?
that people talk about it versus you just not saying?
Karina, you and I have a different definition of drama. I don't think that bumping into a towel rack and the towel rack coming loose from the wall, I don't see that as drama. I don't see her eating as drama. She does that in every video or almost every video. She's done this a million times. How is this drama?
Anything like this thing with her breaking this fixture in the shower. Like, it's okay not to talk about it because you don't talk about the majority of things. Why'd you talk about it? Why'd you bring it up? Because she wants you to talk about it so then she can turn around and go give interviews how badly people treat her.
They do.
What you talk about on
They do
YouTube,
treat her
other people
badly.
talk about. She plays right into it. She does it on purpose because she's looking for people to talk about her in negative ways so she can not only say, oh, people are talking about me in negative ways, but more importantly, she makes more money if you talk about her. Every single time people make a video about her, you write in Amberlynn Reid in the search engine, she makes money because people still go to her videos. Amber, I see exactly what you're doing. There was no...
Well, I would be curious to see the breakdown. I would be curious to see how much money she's lost because of these reaction channels. Because there are just so many of them. There are so many of them, and some of them get more views than her original videos. Same thing with Chantal. When you've got hundreds, I'm estimating, I haven't counted them, but when you've got hundreds of reaction channels and they're all like vultures and they're like, eating at the carcass of your channel, not that her channel's dead, but when they're all cannibalizing your content and using it to make money on their channels, it's got to have an impact on the amount of money you're bringing in. Now, the question is, if these reaction channels didn't exist, how many people would actually watch her on her channel? I don't know the answer to that. I have no idea. The jury's out. But it's definitely having an impact. Of course it is.
No need to say that you broke that fixture. You did it for the money of people talking about it. Then you're going to complain and say, oh, how dare they talk about it? You're the one that brought it up. If you don't want people to talk about something, don't talk about it on the internet to 242,000 people. This is a math.
You know something? Even when you don't talk about something, people will talk about whatever it is that they want to talk about on the internet. When you don't talk about something, When you don't bring something up, when you don't say a word, people will still either lie about you or they'll do a lot of digging into your life. They'll dig up personal shit about you and they'll talk about that. So people are going to talk about you one way or another. And even when the facts are presented, they'll still lie about you. So, unfortunately, it's a byproduct of being on YouTube. It's disgusting, but it's the truth.
Channel people, we like to count. I've always said I do not think that people should be judged on superficial things. You know how like Amberlynn constantly judges people on superficial things? I think she should be judged only by her actions and her character. And talking about you doing this, of course you're doing it so other people talk about it so you can make money. She should be judged on her character. She also makes sure, this is very, 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 very.
I cannot believe that so much drama is being made out of a fucking towel rack coming loose from the wall. It is incredible to me.
Very super, super important girlies. My girly pops. Amber also starts the video telling everybody that, like, think about it. She's talking about, like, the products she uses in her hair. And she's like, oh, this is what I use in my hair, blah, blah, blah. She's getting ready. And out of nowhere, she's like, oh, Tommy told me I smell very good. Put some more onions in your chili. I don't believe you. Go drink some pineapple juice and call it a day. What a joke. Anyways, moving right along.
Oh, my God.
So then, of course, because Amberlynn Reid is nothing but a constant entertainer, I'd like to have a moment of silence for Amberlynn.
Okay, SARS, you're
the
back.
moment is over. It never happened. She decides to continuously discuss Gracie, the cat that ran away on her watch while she was living with Destiny, and Rarity again. So let's just talk about what she said about the cats yet again. Let's just make the situation worse, Amby. Okay, so she discusses giving a $500 reward for the cats. And she's like, I thought about making $1,000 like as a reward for my cat if found. But then I went to Google and the typical Google reward was much, much less. Why are you using what other people offer as rewards as a litmus test for your love of your supposed cat Rarity?
Okay, so you see what's happening here. I don't know. I think Karina's in her 40s, maybe. I have no idea how old she is. Okay, so if Amberlynn had posted a $500 or $1,000 reward for the cat, everybody would have complained and made some, I don't know what the talking point would have been. I'm not that stupid and I'm not that obsessed, right? But the fact that she decided to lower the reward now means that she doesn't love the cat, that she's a cheapskate and she doesn't care that Rarity is gone and it's all performative, or that's what they would have said. If it had been a $500 or $1,000 reward for the cat, people would have said, oh, that's so performative and she's showing off her money. And the fact that she lowered it, oh, she's a cheapskate, she doesn't love the cat, she doesn't want the cat back. It's so predictable. You cannot win with these lunatics.
The reason that most people are offering less is because they make less money and it's all that they can afford. Clearly, you can afford $2,000 to $3,000. If you're spending $3,000 on Uber Eats, because you said that, Amber, she said that in a video. And if you're spending thousands of dollars on Legos, expert Legos, why don't you just do your due diligence, be vigilant, and a vigilante, or whatever other buzzword you used in your other video, and this is a vocabulary channel, and go ahead and offer $3,000 reward for, Rarity. She makes
a $3,000 reward for the cat. Can you imagine if she offered a $3,000 reward for the cat? Yeah, I agree. $3,000. Do you know, by the way, that there is a direct correlation between the size of the reward and the number of false leads that are called in? Do you know that? $3,000? $3,000 is a lot of money, Karina. That is a lot of money. And since when does the amount of the reward correspond to how much we miss or we love the missing animal? And again, if she offered $3,000, people would have something to say about that too.
Sure to gaslight the situation as much as she can and manipulate by showing some comments on some whatever, I guess, Facebook group saying, wow, that must be some cat that you're offering $500. Well, to whoever wrote that, Amberlynn can afford thousands of dollars, but for some reason, since listen to what she said, because she literally said this in the video. She says, well, on Google, the rewards were less. And that's why you decided not to offer a few thousand, because on Google, people usually don't offer thousands of dollars. What does that have to do with you trying to get your cat back? It shows that she's still trying to be liked on the internet and like others on the internet instead of getting her cat back. People can't afford as much as you can. If it's okay to give Uber Eats and expert Legos and whatever Amazon that you're spending thousands of dollars, it's okay for you to offer a few thousand for Rarity. I don't think Rarity is going to be found. I hope she was adopted by somebody else or something else happened. She talks about going out at night and, you know, putting up flyers as if she wants, you know, like a clap for that, like for us to clap for her. This is your cat and she ran away because of you. Which
Whoa, wait a second. You see what I mean? Now here we're back to yeah, exactly. So now we've circled completely around. All right. First, she wasn't doing enough. Now that she's going out herself and putting up the signs and the posters and stuff, now it's, oh, well, what do you want? You want a reward for that? You cannot make these people happy. This is exactly why when people start demanding that I offer explanations or that I offer this or that, I don't, because unless I feel like it. For one very simple reason, because the goalposts are constantly being moved. And she knows this. She puts out her content, she calls it a day, she sits back and watches the views pile up. That's it. But nothing is ever good enough for these people. Nothing is good enough for the critics and the A-logs. Nothing is ever suitable.
Brings me to my next point. So then she starts talking about how people are bringing up Gracie. Gracie is the cat that ran away while she was dating Destiny. It was Gracie's family cat. And if you don't know the story, really, really, really quickly, I'll try to remember to link a video on this topic down below. What happened was that Amberlynn was trying to adopt Wasabi, and she had a Wasabi fund, like she was collecting money or whatever for Wasabi. And the apartment building that she lived in with her roommate and Destiny had a limit on pets. So she kept trying to get this other cat, but they already had the limit on pets. And then by magic, I love it when magic gets involved. All of a sudden, Gracie ran away and they immediately adopted Wasabi. And Amberlynn was incredibly callous and cruel to Destiny, saying immediately as soon as Gracie ran away, oh, well, she's in a better place. What do you think about her red couch? Okay, so she decided to address this. Now, here.
If I never hear about Gracie again for the rest of my life, I will be happy. This is why I don't watch Karina or any of these idiots. I don't want to hear about Gracie. This happened years ago. And I don't give a shit anymore. This Gracie topic has been hashed over about 1 million goddamn times, and it has sparked more grassy knoll conspiracy theories than anything else I can imagine. And the book is closed. It sucks what happened. It does. But didn't even Destiny say that it wasn't Amberlynn's fault? Did she change her mind? You know what? Don't answer that. I don't care. My point is, it happened years ago. Is there a statute of limitations on this horse shit, or are we just going to keep on dredging up this, 10-year-old story over and over and over again to make a point? Come on.
Here's what she says. She says, my ex Destiny really dislikes me and was exposing all my tea, but even she said that I was not responsible for it. What she's implying is that they constantly blamed it on their, like they had like a roommate. And I think it's sad and pathetic that you blamed it on her, because all of us know that it's you, Amby. Like, listen, I like to do positive videos about Amberlynn Reid. Let's say one positive thing about Amberlynn Reid. She has nice videos that she makes. Well, that was enough for that. Okay, so here's the thing. What Amberlynn did is continuously trash that poor roommate they had and her job choice, and pretty much was like, oh, well, she let the cat out. She let the cat out. I don't believe that. The reason I don't believe that,
I don't care,
is because Amberlynn acted cruel and callous afterwards. And listen, it's the perfect storm. She was trying to get a new cat. She couldn't because the limit of pets had been met. And she did have a problem with one of the animals getting out. She actually has a vlog before Gracie supposedly mysteriously ran away. I think it was Gracie actually that got out before, or another animal or whatever. And look, Amber says that she didn't do it because she was asleep. I don't believe you. To give you my answer as to why Destiny doesn't think it's Amber, because Amber convinced her a long time ago. And
It doesn't
to be honest
matter.
with you, I don't think Destiny is worried about that. If you don't know, Destiny had the wedding to the girl that she was engaged to, so congratulations to Destiny. Also, I like Destiny's content on YouTube, but people could be wrong. Listen, the reason that people think that it's you, Amberlynn, is because of everything I just said. It was the perfect storm. It was so obvious. The most obvious answer is true. And because animals are continuously mistreated by you, like Twinkie, you left her shaking in pain. I will continue to say this forever. And went partying with Destiny and Chili's. You didn't cut her nails. You're not cutting her nails now. Go ask Amberlynn when was the last time she took her in Wisconsin to the vet. Stop it, Amber. Stop it. You have a history of animals, unfortunately, meeting their demise while...
Quick question for the animal owners in chat. Do you guys just randomly take your pets to the vet if they're not ill or don't need their vaccines? Is this something that people do? Do you just like decide to pack the dog or the cat or the sloth or the guinea pig or whatever in the car and take it to the vet just because you're taking it to the vet? I don't do that. I only take Bug to the vet if I feel that something odd is going on with him or if he needs his vaccines updated. That's it. Vets are expensive. Why would you just randomly pack your animals up and take them to the fucking vet? Is Twinkie ill? You can take a dog to a groomer to get their nails trimmed. You don't need to take the dog to the vet. It's like when people called animal control on her because the dog's nails were long and the dog was getting chunky. That's not why you call animal control. Animal control has enough to worry about. Especially when they lived in Kentucky, they were in a rural area and people had livestock. There were farm animals around them, and you need to be much more concerned if you're in animal control with animals that are being severely mistreated, neglected, starved, beaten, flea infestations, horribly abused. That is why you call animal control. You don't call animal control because a dog is a couple of pounds overweight and because they have long nails. I swear to God, when people started calling animal control on her in Kentucky, I was fucking hot because I was still doing the Amberlynn Reacts. And I was furious that people called animal control on her. It was so out of order, so outrageous to waste the time of those people on such bullshit, this internet nonsense.
There in your care. That's why everybody believes that. I don't believe you that you were sleeping. I think you let her out on purpose at this point. Or I don't even know anymore if you, maybe you did something to her. I don't know what. Anyways, okay. So she then says that she already addressed how she was insensitive to Destiny, the things that I said about the red couch and how she was going around saying all these terrible things. Like about, oh, well, she's in a better place. And she goes, that doesn't make me insensitive. Girly Pop's never taking, this is what I mean by girly pop. She never, ever, ever takes responsibility. She goes, yes, it was insensitive, but it doesn't make me an insensitive person. Yes, it does. I mean, listen, please, people from other planets, aliens, take me now. She literally said in the video, I was insensitive to Destiny about Gracie, but it doesn't make me an insensitive person. Then what kind of person does it make you? A person that hasn't bought pineapple juice in a while? How's that go?
Isn't this something that she needed to work out with Destiny? And didn't she break up with Destiny years ago? Or Destiny break up with her? This was years ago. Hey, Opal. Oh, we talked about the arguments made before the Supreme Court about the transgender thing. We talked about Cenk and Hasan and how Hasan is a backstabbing, two-timing piece of shit. And now we are talking about Karina because basically I run a variety show here. So there's a little bit of something for everybody to enjoy. or click out of or whatever. I don't understand why everybody is trying to fight Destiny's battles when Destiny has gotten over it. She's moved on. She's married to a whole other person. Who cares?
Going, Amby. Okay, so moving right along, Amberlynn then says that she has taken responsibility for, Rarity going missing and all that other stuff. However, how have you taken responsibility and said that it was your fault? Because she did say that, but right after saying that, she said that she was not neglectful. A person that has two different animals run away from the house on their watch while they're like trying to get rid of that animal, and in this case, don't care about that animal, it is your fault. Are you following?
Why is Karina making the assumption that I know, right, Benita? You know what? I am so inspired by my Elphaba Barbie. I can't even tell you, because in the last scene of the movie where she has where Ariana Grande ties that incredible cape to her, and they turn the wind machines on, and the cape is just flowing in the background, and it is so opulent. That cape is so opulent, and the hat, which of course doesn't budge while she's flying around on her broom. Maybe that should be my costume. Maybe I'll be Elphaba for Halloween next year. I'll put that down. I'll mark that down on the list.
Let's just take a look, okay? Please listen closely, but not for very much longer. Amber says that she was insensitive to Destiny about Cat Gracie, but she's not an insensitive person. And Amby also said, this is my favorite, right? All in one video. What an amazing time to be alive, girls. She also said that she did take responsibility and she did take accountability, and it was her fault that Rarity ran away, but she's not neglectful. Make it make sense. You see, it's what I've always told you about. I just did a video about this the other day when I say, why does this woman never want to take responsibility? Oh, yes, it was my fault, but I wasn't neglectful. Oh, yes, I was insensitive to Destiny, but I'm not an insensitive person. Take responsibility. It's always, oh, I did this, but an excuse.
You know, I don't know who said it earlier. A couple of you said it, I think. Animals can give you the slip. They can do that. And they dash out the door, and you're not even aware of it until you see that an animal has gotten out, and you're like, holy shit. It doesn't mean you're neglectful. It may mean that you're sleepy. It may mean that you just didn't see the animal go out the door. It may mean that the animal squeezed past you, bolted out the door, and ran off. It's not necessarily a sign of neglect. It could, you could be, okay, is neglectful and careless the same thing? I don't know. We could sit here and play word games if that's really something that you insist on doing. Was it stupid? Sure. Was it idiotic of her to leave the back door open as long as she did? Yeah. And I'm sure she's beating herself up over it. I'm sure that she is miserable contemplating what could have happened to her cat. I have no doubt about that. But for how much longer are we going to continue to beat this drum? If she doesn't talk about Rarity, then she's a monster. If she does talk about Rarity, she's lying. She's not, she goes out or she says, I'm doing everything I can. No, you're not. You're lying about that. She says, I go out and I put up the posters. It's not enough. The reward isn't high enough, or the reward is too high. It's never good enough for these people. And that's why I can only take Karina in very small doses. And that's why I can only really watch her on stream and turn her into content on my channel, because she drives me fucking crazy.
Save your excuses for a Kermit that cares. A few more points that I'd like to talk about. So, I don't know if anybody has picked up on this, but
Well, Cheryl, have you seen Wicked? Have you seen this one? Because the movie starts when Elphaba is gone. She's dead. And in the next one, we're going to see how her sister, the Wicked Witch of the West, presumably we're going to see how the house falls on her and Elphaba goes off, and we see I mean, we sort of see the origins of Dorothy's team in the first one. We see the origin of the Cowardly Lion. We're going to see where there's the Scarecrow and the Tin Man come from. So I am so beside myself with excitement. I can't even tell you. You know, Gigi was saying in a stream the other day that he is so looking forward to Wicked and Mission Impossible next year, and that's exactly what I'm looking forward to as well. I cannot wait. And another movie thing, I am so excited to see Nosferatu, and I know that people are giving it like a meh, so-so review. Let me tell you something. When you tell me that a gothic movie that is filmed in color but looks black and white, and it's a remake of Nosferatu with a very, very heavy goth sort of feel to it, is coming out, and you see it, say it's too atmospheric, I need to ask you some questions. What does that mean? That to me is my dream. I can't wait to see it. The only complaint that I have at this point, this is sort of a general complaint. When is Bill Skarsgård going to star in a movie where his face isn't slathered in makeup and he's not playing a monster? Let's let Bill Skarsgård's face go free, okay? But he's so good at it. He's so good at it, and people are saying that he's an amazing Nosferatu. I'm really looking forward to seeing that movie, and it comes out soon. So I'm pretty excited. I saw the preview for Mustafa, and I'm not excited for that. I'm not going to make a special trip to the theater to see it. I'm just not wowed by it.
If you haven't, or if you want to, see what I'm talking about, I want you to go back to her video and see the moment when she's talking about Destiny. When she mentions her girlfriend, her ex-girlfriend Destiny, the whole vibe changes. The way that she says her name,
Oh my
it
God.
radiates. Like when she says the name Destiny, the way that she says her name is as if
We're not back to this horse's ass conspiracy theory, are we? That she's still obsessed with Destiny. I think that she's moved on. I do believe that she's moved on. I mean, it's like I'm losing the will to live, you guys.
she would marry her tomorrow. I'm telling you, I've seen it. Who here has felt it before where you talk about your ex, you're not gonna.
You know what's funny? Where's that comment? I was out with Sidhu one time, and he was wearing a collar that was on, I thought, tightly. And we were in the courtyard behind the apartment building that I lived in at the time. And I was filming him, and I was walking him back to the entrance to the building. And all of a sudden, he just did a little like head twist, and he got out of the collar and ran off. Now, hi, my love. Hi, baby. Now, it was safe because the apartment building was surrounded by a gate. And so even if he had wanted to go off roaming, he wouldn't have gotten very far because, again, the street, the gate kept everybody inside. It was a security thing. And so he wouldn't have been able to run off into the street if he had kept on running. But Sidhu, when he was a baby, was an escape artist. I remember one time I had to leave him in his crate for a little bit because I had to run to CVS or something. And this was a crate that had 2 latches on it, 2 bolt locks, like bolts, like sliding bolts. I get back home, and Sidhu is sitting in the middle of the living room. He was very young. He couldn't have been older than maybe like 10 weeks or something. And I swear I was gone for a very, very short period of time because I don't believe in keeping puppies that are that young locked up in crates for significant periods of time. I get back, I open the door to the apartment, and he's sitting in the middle of the living room. He somehow managed to figure out a way, my little Houdini puppy, of undoing those bolts, sliding them, opening the door, and walking out. And he was just sitting there, giving me the most innocent look when I walked through the door. This dog was the most incredible escape artist I've ever seen. When he was a baby, he could get out of harnesses, he could get out of crates, he could get out of collars, he could get out of everything. So I am very well aware of how frisky and naughty animals and how unpredictable they can be. When they want to take off running, they take off running. you know? Now, and again, I haven't owned a cat in over 30 years, and my cats were always indoor cats. But I can easily see how, you leave the door open, the cat fucks off, for lack of a better term. I'm sorry if that's insensitive, but that's just in the nature of cats. And they're so quiet that you may not even notice they're gone until you notice they're gone. Was Amberlynn idiotic and stupid for leaving the back door open? Of course she was, but why is returning to that theme and that story over and over and over again? How does that help? You think she doesn't feel like shit already? Of course she does. But what's done is done. So what is the point of continuing to return to that talking point when really all that should matter is that an indoor cat is lost, and the longer time passes, the more time passes, the less likely it is that that cat is going to turn up at all. And it's something that we all have to accept. I mean, if the cat does turn up, it'll be a miracle. I know that there are stories of cats returning after being gone for years and they just show up, So we don't know. But people are really taking their eye off the ball, and to use it as a club to hit Amberlynn over the head with, it's like, enough, okay? You all got your licks in. Let's move on.
Gonna go, and you're not gonna admit this, and you're probably not gonna admit this in the comments either. So it's okay. I'm not expecting you to. But when you say your ex's name and they're the one that got away, the whole vibe shifts. The whole vibe changes. The name is like crescendos out. I'm sorry, this is a vocabulary channel. I hope that's the right word. It's probably the wrong word. My point here is this. She's still in love with Destiny. I know. Most people are not going to make a video about this or even bring this up. I think she will always carry something for Destiny. Destiny is definitely the one that got away. The way that she says her name. Now she's saying, oh, Destiny, she's out there when she was spilling my tea all over the internet. But the way that she says her name, the breath that she takes when she's talking about Destiny, I'm telling you, you could feel it through the screen. It's very brief. It's very fleeting. Okay. Very fleeting, but it's there. Go and check it out again. I'm telling you, she still is harboring feelings towards Destiny, because when she mentions her other exes, it's never like that. It's almost like, you ever felt that before? It's almost like revisiting all the feelings you still have for the person when you say their name. Now, some people can hide this better than others. She can't hide anything. She's very transparent. But it's like, when somebody brings up that one ex, and most people, not all, but most people have that one person that they still feel things for, and they the one person they never got over, and of course they're not going to tell it to everybody. Even if you're married, even if you're well into a happy relationship, for a lot of people there's that one person where deep down inside, you're never going to admit it, that if they called you or they texted you, you would meet up. What would happen later, it's not going to be on YouTube. My point here is this. I'm telling you, the vibe that I get from her, no matter what bad thing she says about Destiny, she will never be over Destiny. Ambi, I know what you feel really deep down inside. Of course you have to have a new girlfriend. Of course you have to pretend to love her or whatever. Destiny is the one that got away. Notice the way she says Destiny's name. I'm telling you, she still has something for Destiny. Well, that's about it for today's video. I want to thank you so very much for watching today. I appreciate your time. If you enjoyed this video, or especially if you didn't, I have great news. You're not going to like any of my other videos. So go and watch this one that's popping up right here on a similar topic. Go and leave it a dislike or a like. Be a friend. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you next time.